you like pigs or alcohol, stay out of this country. But other than that, I hope you've enjoyed. Welcome to Saudi Arabia. Hello internet, welcome to Lex Universe. Well, when you see me, you can probably guess what I will talk about. But I will not be wearing this the whole video because it's ridiculous. And I really don't want to offend anyone, I just wanted to bring the atmosphere a little bit. But anyway, in this video I will talk about Saudi Arabia. I will give you some travel tips in case you want to travel there. But before we begin, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, it helps me a great deal. And well, if you already have, then thank you very much. You made my day. And also, this is the conclusion of my trip. So if you want to see some footage that was taken directly in the country, go watch the playlist in the upper right corner. And now, after some rebranding, let's talk about Saudi Arabia. Let's start with the basics. It's located on the Arabian Peninsula in the Middle East. Its size is over 2 million square kilometers and just only 0.7% of that is water. So yeah, the Saudi Arabia doesn't really have any real rivers or any kind of a natural ponds. So yeah, water is kind of a scarcity. But what I'm telling is well, it's really fucking big. So if you were thinking about traveling inside, allow yourself a lot of time because, well, you will need it. It has some 38 million inhabitants, so that's quite a lot of people, but they have a lot of land, so they can probably... It borders a lot of countries along its borders. I will not name them all, but you can see it now on the map. And also there is the island of Bahrain, which is connected to Saudi Arabia overland via the series of bridges, which is called the King Fahd Causeway. Other than that, it's surrounded by the waters. It's the Gulf of Aqaba and the Red Sea on the west and the Persian or Arabian Gulf in the east. The name of this gulf is weird, but just like if you're in Arabia, you call it Arabian Gulf. If you're in Iran, you call it Persian Gulf. Now, the capital of the country is Riyadh, but there are some other major population centers that you may want to visit. Among them, of course, there are the two holiest cities in Islam, Medina and Mecca, and also the coastal town of Jeddah and Dammam. Now we know everything about Saudi Arabia. How do we get there? Well, this is a tricky question because Saudi Arabia is one of the latest countries that allowed for tourism. It was really shortly before the pandemic, so there have not been so many people that have been to Saudi Arabia as tourists, so that probably makes this video more valuable. Well, anyway, 49 countries, which you will find a list in the description down below. They can request the visa online, and some of them, specifically the citizens of the United States, United Kingdom and the European Union, can request visa on arrival. Also, if you have a visa to any of these countries, you can also request the visa on arrival, but just don't do that. You do it online because it's very simple. I will leave you a link down below. You just fill out all the information that usually is required for a visa and you get it. The only downside, that's a big one, is that it's quite expensive. You will pay some $100 for the visa and then some $50 for mandatory insurance. So prepare some money. There's also the possibility, if you're flying with Saudia or Flynas, which are two major Saudi airlines, you will be entitled for the 96 hours stopover visa, which is for free actually. Or if you're flying with Saudia, it's completely for free. If you're flying with Flynas, you will pay some 50 riyals for the application fee, but it's just really nothing in comparison with the real visa, and then you can spend 4 hours in Saudi Arabia. Now, considering the visa is quite expensive, it's not really meant for low-cost carriers, but there is still one. There is Wizz Air that's flying from either Abu Dhabi in the Middle East or from several European cities like Vienna, and you can get very affordable prices for your flight tickets. So you can at least save some money there if the visa is still so expensive. let's talk now. We got into the country. You can also like drive into the country or go by bus. There are several connections with the neighboring countries as well as Bahrain, but yeah, I think that for majority of people, how you get to Saudi Arabia, unless you live somewhere in the Middle East, will be you will fly. And also that makes sense because, well, like I said, it's really big. Now we are in the country. How do we get around? Well, it's fairly simple. You either drive or fly. There are some public buses operated by the Subco company, which will take you almost everywhere, but they are quite infrequent and, well, you will not want to do that. There are several railways that are not interconnected and they are also operated by different companies, but you can get on a bus from Riyadh to Dammam via Al Hofuf, or you can get on the newly built high-speed train from Mecca to Medina via Jeddah. But other than that, I really recommend you to rent a car because you will get almost everywhere by car, and yeah, they say the Saudi roads are quite dangerous. I don't know, we didn't have any accidents, so it's hard to say, and I don't drive, so I will not even like mention that, but we got by just fine. Just one thing about car rentals in Saudi Arabia, which I really don't understand, is they usually have limited mileage, which is complete nonsense. If you have like 200 kilometers per day, well, fine, it seems like a lot, but it's really not, because even like going only from Riyadh to Dammam, which are relatively close to each other, you will use up a lot more kilometers and then you will have to pay for them, so that's kind of unfortunate. Your other possibility is to fly around, because majority of the main population centers and cities have their own airports, and the flight tickets are quite cheap actually if you're flying with Flynas, which is the Saudi low-cost carrier. You will get to some 30 euro per ticket, so which is not that bad, and it will definitely save you some time, because if you think that you would, for example, want to drive from Medina to Riyadh, you can, but you will use up the whole day and you will not see anything. There will be just desert all around you, so it will be very, to me it would be a waste of time. If you want to travel within the city and you don't have your own car, you can use the services of Uber or Careem, and also like the local taxis. They are quite inexpensive. When we are in the country, one thing that I should probably mention, and not because it's so important, but because many people have many misconceptions about Saudi Arabia, and that's how safe it is. One thing, there are some very strict rules in Saudi Arabia, although the country is opening up to the world, and many of the harshest rules have been already withdrawn. The religious police no longer has any powers, so you will be fine. If you follow the rule, you will have no problem in Saudi Arabia, and honestly the people are really friendly. And even the policemen, there is this square in Riyadh where they used to perform or still perform public executions, and there is also the seat of the religious police. And I read everywhere, you do not take any picture of the government buildings, which is a big no-no. But even there, I was like filming and they were just policemen, they were just waving at me, hello, how are you? So don't be threatened by that. Also, if you are LGBTQ+, you may reconsider going there, but even on the, which is really funny, even on the official site of Saudi tourism, there is the frequently asked questions section, and there is this question: can LGBTQ+ people go to Saudi Arabia? And the answer is we don't care what you are, just come. But preferably, it probably means don't do anything and we will not ask. Which is, well, you know, it's up to you. Also, but other than that, some petty crimes or something that's really non-existent there. Nobody will try to steal from you and will try to murder you. So in that regards, it's quite safe. Now, let's move on to economics. Well, not really the economics of the country, but our tourist economics. So it means, let's generally talk about prices and money. The official currency is the Saudi Riyal, which is divided into halalas, $100. The prices are strange because I read somewhere that prices are quite high, but it really depends what you compare it with. You can get a fairly good meal, and when I say very good, it's like a large portion of rice and half of chicken for as little as some $2 or $3. So that's ridiculous, so don't tell me that it's expensive. Regarding accommodation, one thing is you will never get one room. If you are accommodated somewhere, you will at least have like 2 bedrooms, a hallway, a kitchen, and a living room, and it will all be for a very affordable price. So, and go watch my video from Al Ula. This is absurd. What kind of a palace we actually got for that kind of money. So yeah, they do not suffer from the lack of space, really. Now, let's move on from the prices to the things that you can actually buy for it, and that's food and drink. Consider one thing, Saudi Arabia has some very strict customs law, so many things cannot be imported into the country. I'm mentioning it here because it concerns mainly drinks and food. Regarding drinks, alcohol is banned in Saudi Arabia. You cannot import it, you cannot drink it there, you cannot sell it or buy it. And please do not try luck, honestly. If you want to drink, take a trip to Bahrain and drink there. But yeah, also you cannot import pork meat, which I don't know how they would find out that it's pork, but just don't do that. And yeah, you are also not allowed to import other than Sunni Islam religious stuff and pornography. It's not really related to food, but when I'm talking about it here, then let's mention it all. So I'll delete all your dick pics from the phones. They don't actually really check it. Maybe there are some random controls, but generally going into the country is very straightforward and it will take you some 5 minutes. So it's really not that horrible as it might sound, but just don't try your luck. You can survive 1 week without porno, can't you? Right. Okay, then what can I mention? Well, the official language is Arabic, but many people speak English, and if they don't, there always is someone in the neighborhood who speaks English. One thing that can take you by surprise and make your life a bit more complicated is they sometimes use Arabic numerals, which are completely different from ours. So in that case, learn 10 letters. You can look and learn it. And also many times they don't actually have English signposts anywhere or menus in restaurants or something. Get a Google Translator. It will help you a lot. Or learn Arabic, but you know. And finally, I want to mention climate, because when you think about Saudi Arabia, consider it's really hot and dry, and yes, it is. But I was traveling there in January. It was very pleasant. It was some 20 to 25 degrees. True, it wasn't raining, but you know how it is. It is really dry, but it's not always hot year long. The winter months are very pleasant to stay there. And that would be it. Do you have any more questions about Saudi Arabia? Please leave them in the comment section down below, and I will get to you as soon as I can, because, well, I cannot always think of everything that is there to say, but I'm definitely ready to answer you. And, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, once again go watch the previous videos from Saudi Arabia, or basically anything I have on my channel. There is a lot of it, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.